Hi everybody, it's Dee Slater with Create with Dee, and welcome to my Wednesday night stamping time here. I did pop on about a half hour early. I'm kind of invoking my summer flexibility just a little bit. I have something that popped up here later on tonight, but I wanted to make sure that I shared with you this project. As those of you that tune in every Wednesday know, July kind of seemed to be turned out to be a box kind of a theme this month. And so I'm going to continue on with that with this adorable little small explosion box. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll get started on making this project. I'll go ahead and change out the views. Okay, there we go. So as you come on, please just make sure to say hi to me. Like I said, I know that I'm a little bit early here. All right, so this little explosion box is so adorable. When you open it up, oops, it does just that. It explodes. It opens up to reveal what's in the inside. Hi, Doreen. Hi, Terry. So again, and when you you can fill it up, you close up the sides and you have your lid. And then I've got it decorated for Christmas in July, so it looks like a little present. And then again, when they open up the lid, it opens up. So I'm going to do this in a couple of ways here tonight. I'm going to show you with and without this little insert here. This is kind of nice if you want to keep something round like the Lindt candies in place. Also, those other gold ones, those Ferrero Rochelles. I don't know. I don't have it. I don't have my terminology right here tonight. I'm kind of a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But anyways, or you don't have to have this little insert at all. Okay, let's get started making this. And I'm going to bring in my Simply Scored scoring tool. You can use your paper trimmer for this as well. I can just score a little faster here on my paper trimmer. I'm going to start out with a piece of real red. This is cut at 6 by 6. Thanks, Terry. I'm glad you like it. And it's a 6 by 6, and we're going to score at 2 inches on all 4 sides. So you can do that. All right, so that's going to be the box bottom. And then for the lid, I'm going to need a square. This is 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. And I'm going to score 1 inch on all 4 sides. We'll get that. And then while we've got the scoring out, I'm going to do the optional insert here. Oops. And this is all real red, as you can see. And this is 5 1/8 or 5 1/2 by 1 7/8. And we're going to score this at 3/4 and 1 1/2. Now we're going to get into some 8s. We're going to do 3 3/8 and 4 1/8. Whoops. Okay, I'll set that aside and I can move this. Get this out of our road. All right, so for our box, what we want to do for the explosion box, you can see what it, for any explosion boxes, or I should say most of them, what you do is you take out all 4 corners. Okay, so we're going to remove those 4 corners out. So we'll just follow along the score lines to the best of our ability to where they intersect, and we'll get rid of those corners. And these are nice 2 by 2 squares, so they're definitely worth keeping for, die cutting circles or punches, and just nice little layering pieces here. So it's not too bad of a square that we're cutting out here. Okay, almost done. So again, we took a square, 6 by 6 squared, scored it at 2 inches on all 4 sides, and trimming out the corners to get like a plus sign.
And that's it. That is everything that we need for the box, the bottom of it. So I'm going to go ahead and take my bone folder and we'll just get some burnishing, some crisp edges here to fold up. I'm going to put it so they all kind of fold inward here. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and decorate the outside of the box. I'm using the Santa Express paper. And because I am making a little gift box, I thought it was kind of fun to use part of this paper here. It's got the gift boxes on one side, and I'm all about polka dots. It's on the polka dots of the other. So I'm using that particular one out of the pack. And we're going to need 4 squares. I just trimmed these down 1/8 of an inch from the sides of these. These are 2 by 2s. So I have 4 squares, and these are 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. And what we want to do is this paper has orientation. If I was using the polka dot side, it wouldn't matter because there's no orientation. But if you have orientation, you always, like I kind of say, here's the outside square on the top. Just have that, facing at the top, going in the direction that you want your paper to go. So I'm going to go ahead and use liquid glue to put that down. And just to make sure that I know which orientation, I'm going to turn it and then again go in the right direction. Again, if your paper did not have directionality to it, you wouldn't have to do this, but just for my little brain, it keeps me all straight and going in the right direction here. All right. Do that. And one more. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so all of those, now when we fold them up, will be right side. All right, so I'm going to put the box bottom off to the side. Now we're going to work on our lid. Where those intersections are at, I'm going to go ahead and trim up on opposite sides. And then on the corner ones, these are going to be my tabs. So I'm going to go ahead and give those a little bit of a trim on either side just to help them lay a little better when we make our lid box. And the reason why I did, instead of doing a 4x4, which would give this right in here, like that little extra 1/8 of an inch, I like to do that on my lid boxes for the explosion boxes so that it's not so tight. That way the sides, if you make the lid just a little bit larger overall, it really, I think, helps the look of it. Okay, so before I put these together, I'm going to go ahead and add some decoration here to the box. The top of here, this inside square is actually a 2 1/8 square. And so I have a 2 by 2 piece of designer paper. It's that same sheet of paper. I'm just using the polka dot side. I'm going to make the lid just a little bit different in the box. And then we need 4 pieces of the designer paper. These are cut at 7/8 by 1 7/8. And because there's no orientation to the paper, I'm just going to simply put it on here. And actually what I should have done is made these 7/8 by 2 inches. So I'll change those when I put the measurements down. I'll change that measurement. Just know that yours will be looking just a little bit different than mine. Okay, so we've got the lid decorated now, or the majority of it. And you can take your strong adhesive of choice. Just for time's sake here tonight, I'm going to use liquid glue on the corners, on our tabs, I should say. I'm not being very careful with it. You can be a little more careful than what I am. I'm just going for time. And we'll go ahead and I'll get those corners down of our lid. Press that and that. Get this one more time. Alrighty, so here is then how it would go. The sides of the box come in, and then the lid comes over top. Kind of squish that in. So then it's just a matter of doing additional decorating and filling it up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and decorate the lid here first, and then I'll kind of show you two options on the inside of how much fun it could be. All right, so for this, what I thought I would show you is a little technique of how to make it look like that you have a bow on the top half of the lid. And we just want to go ahead and take whatever ribbon of choice that you'd like. I'm using the Real Red and Garden Green combo pack. This is from the holiday, the current holiday catalog as well. And I am going to go ahead and use some tear and tape. So I'm going to just start out with it hanging over just a little bit and centering it the best of my ability on the lid. And I'm just going to wrap it all the way around. And typically on tear and tape, you do tear it, but because I want it to really stop exactly where I want it to, I'm using my scissors to cut off that edge. Alrighty. Put the tear tape aside for now. So again, this is going to kind of give us that decorated lid look. So an option for when you make a box, a little explosion box, or any really box lid. This maybe could be a technique that you can use on the ribbon. And I'll go ahead and overhang it just a little bit so I can trim it up and follow it along that tear and tape. Okay, now I'll take my scissors. I'll trim that flush. So that gives us this little look here. And ahead of time, I made a bow. Sure I did. Where did I do with it? I will go and grab that later. But then you can just, let me just take this bow off. Then you have your bow, and you can just, make a bow however you like to make it. And I'm going to get some mini glue dots here. And just can grab a couple of them on the back side and put that down. All right, so, and then because it's Christmas in July, I'm going to use Let's Celebrate sentiment. It's from the Peaceful Deer. This was a carryover, so many of you may already have that. So it's kind of nice to kind of combine what we already have with maybe some new paper. And then also, I used the Stylish Shapes dies. You have both the circles and the banner. And so ahead of time, I cut out a banner out of scrap basic white and a circle out of the garden green scrap. And we'll go ahead and we'll get some Real Red ink. And we'll get this stamped. So, of course, whatever celebration that you might want to make this little treat box for. We're showing it for the holidays decorated, but this would be cute for anything that you want to decorate for a little gift that you give somebody. All right, and we'll get our Stampin' Dimensionals. And we'll put one on the back here. Whoops. And that's just going to get centered right onto the garden green. And then I have it so that it's kind of partially here on the lid. So I'm going to put dimensionals on the top half of our circle. And 2 of those ought to do it. And then whatever you want to deem the front, We'll go ahead and center that onto the lid so it kind of overhangs just a little bit. All right, we have our lid. Okay, so before I make the little box holder that you could use on there to highlight just one other candy, I thought I would show you how fun it could be to really fill these things up. So if you had, you know, whatever candy of choice or little treat, you know, you just kind of overfill it like this, and then you put your lid on. And then when they open it up, then you can have it so that it all spills out and they have all of this fun candy or whatever little gift that you might have in it. So that's one way that you can use that, your explosion box. I did kind of share with you that another option is if you wanted to make a little holder for something round. And I've got the lint candies here. You could use, you know, whatever round candy that you might want to do. So ahead of time, like when we were doing our scoring, we've got our little insert that we're going to have here. And we need to do a circle. Now it's whatever, like punch out or die cut out a circle from whatever's here. And that's going to be in this 1 7/8 by 1 7/8 section that's here. And so I'm going to go ahead and just use a 1-inch circle punch because the lint candy fits pretty good with the 1-inch. And again, you could run it through, if you've got circle dies, you could definitely do that as well. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and fold these in, and just to kind of get them all in the same direction. And again, I'm going to get the tear and tape. And on this largest section here, I'm going to run the tear and tape along the edge. And we'll get that. So this is really going to prop up the candy a good, you know, well, it's a 3/4 of an inch. So it'll make the candy look like it's, you know, almost halfway up there. All right, so then I'm kind of going to square this up just a little bit. Give or take off a little bit. Not too bad. So there's the little holder. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this base onto here. And you could use tear and tape again. If you like, I'm just going to use some liquid glue. And we'll center that. And then you can take your candy of choice, you know, so I've got this little assorted pack. So depending on the flavor that they like or the color that you want to put in it, I'll just put a little blue one in here. You know, that just fits right in there. And so this time when they open it up, they're not going to get a cascading amount of like Hershey's Kisses in that example. But when they open it up, then they have their specialty candy that's in it. All right. That is our little explosion treat box here for tonight. And something really super quick that you can use for any occasion. And I think that this would be super cute to make these for little birthday party favors. You know, we have all sorts of holidays that will be coming up in the fall. Just any little cute thing that you'd want to do. And then there again, like you can use that little bow technique to make the box as well. All right, everybody, have a great Wednesday and happy crafting. Bye-bye.